P Diddy a bitch. 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 P Diddy a bitch.
Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah. Sean Combs is a bitch. They bitches too. Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah. Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah.
You don't hit women when you're a man. You don't hit women when you're a man.
P Diddy a bitch. 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 P Diddy a bitch.
Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah.
I'm not going to call P Diddy a bitch or any other name like that. But I ain't gonna stop anybody else from doing it. I'm not gonna malign them. P Diddy a bitch. P Diddy a bitch. P Diddy.
Difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I was fucked up. I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? You know you done fucked up.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, QueenAShakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. Okay, so I'm back at it again because we have breaking news on Diddy. So he's been hit with that superseding indictment. So we're going to get into it. Everyone, please hit that like button. Thank you. That's how you can support the stream for free. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._Ashakur and at Twitter at DGoddess27 or X. All right, hello, G from the land. Auntie Leah's in the house. Eric is here. Fat Boo. All right, Jeff ATS and Bikai is here with the people. Let's get ready to get into it. Shout out to everyone in the chat, all of my loyal royals and my moderators putting in work. I see you all. Hell no, Mr. Mercedes. Battle Axe is here. All right. Jocelyn Kelly is here. Giggles. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, before we get started with these documents, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so we can get into the nefariousness of it all. All right, there we go. So let's talk about it. Everyone hit that like button. Thank you in advance. Okay, let's get into it. Now, this was filed on today. It's 15 pages. Okay, so the grand jury charges. For decades, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. PD, a.k.a. Love, and, you know, all of his aliases, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, as trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Sean Combs, along with all the aliases that he goes by, the defendant, operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, collectively the Combs Business. Corporate entities in the Combs Business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, and all the rest of his aliases, the defendant, engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse toward women and other individuals. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in orchestrated performances of sexual activity with Combs, and at times with Combs and male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others, acting at his direction, made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. I mean, I'm sure none of this is a shock to anyone. This is pretty much what was said in the first indictment. But let's continue. Now, physical abuse by Sean Combs and all of his aliases, the defendant, was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Combs' violence was also not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnesses to his abuse, and others. On one occasion at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff to ensure silence. Subsequently, Combs, with the assistance of several close associates, paid hotel security staff $100,000 for the hotel surveillance footage. Well, no surprise there. Now, before we continue with this, hold on. Let's get into what this male S worker said. Okay, before I finish reading this document, let's get into what the male S worker said. Now, this came out yesterday. Okay, Diddy and his legal team have claimed that the disgraced music industry veteran has become a changed man in the years that followed his 2016 physical altercation with Cassie. However, according to an expose from Rolling Stone, several sources for the outlet allege that's not the case. Now, the piece contains interviews with a number of the Bad Boy Mogul's alleged accusers, former associates, and more. It arrives as Diddy remains behind bars while awaiting trial for charges of alleged S trafficking and racketeering. He's already pleaded not guilty. Now, one person who spoke out with the outlet was a male SEX worker who claims that he was hired for several alleged freak-offs. Now, going by the pseudonym Nathan, the man explained how he was paid thousands upon thousands to appear at lavish hotels where the alleged depravity ensued. He would pretend to leave the room, but like go around the corner and crawl in the room on the floor and peek around the corner or use mirrors. This is what Nathan said. He said really creepy-ish, obviously, because it's like your girlfriend. Why do you even have to do that? Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this? He would pretend to leave the room, go around the corner, crawl in the room on the floor and peek around the corners or use mirrors. Yeah, this definitely sounds very strange. Now, anyway, goes on to say, he also gave some insight into Diddy's alleged drug use. He says, I used to think it was insane. This guy would sniff things and black out for 30 minutes. He'd sniff a lot of ketamine and kind of black out in the middle. Puff has been super rich for decades. He's an SEX addict. He's an obsessive drug addict. That's a major part of his problem. This is what the S worker said. Now, Diddy has denied the allegations that he's faced over the last years, time and time again. And in response to the Rolling Stone piece, his legal team further said in a statement that no matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never assaulted or trafficked anyone, man, woman, adult, or minor. Okay, they keep with the same story. Fortunately, a fair and impartial jury or judicial process exists to separate fact from fiction. All this sounds very plausible to me, but what do I think about this? Crawling around on the floor, peeking around corners. Yeah, this all sounds real freaky deaky and crazy, okay? And then said that he would sniff this stuff and pass out for 30 minutes. No wonder he said he was in a dark place, okay? Diddy has some serious psychological issues from the sounds of it. But let's continue. So with that all being said, and I just went ahead and read that because I know that had I not, I would likely have forgotten all about it, okay, as I did earlier. Okay, so now with that all being said, goes on to say that the employees, including security staff, household, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors and other close associates acted as Combs's intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs's control of the Combs business. So basically saying that he got them to do these things because they worked for him and they were afraid of losing their jobs, and he had money over their heads, of course. Now, from at least or about 2004 through in or about 2024, Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown were members and associates of a criminal organization, the Combs Enterprise, or the Enterprise. Members and associates of Combs' enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, as trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Now, the Combs Enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18, United States Code, Section 1961-4. That is a group of individuals associated, in fact, although not a legal entity. Now, the Combs Enterprise consisted of Sean Combs, entities within the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, individuals employed by and associates with the Combs business, and others known and unknown. Now, the Combs Enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs Enterprise. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs Enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, was the leader of the Combs Enterprise. Sean Combs, the defendant, and others and others known and unknown participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprises affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs' security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. Now, purposes of the Combs Enterprise. The purposes of Combs Enterprise included the following. A, operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirit business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. B, preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. C, enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs, and in particular, those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. D, preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of the Combs Enterprise, including the power of its leader, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers, enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including violence, trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs Enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats, and protecting the Combs Enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witness the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. Means and methods of the enterprise. Well, among the means and methods of which Sean Combs, the defendant, and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs Enterprise included the following. Combs and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs's role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs's orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims, including but not limited to three female victims, victim 1, 2, and 3, to engage in commercial acts. In connection with the commercial acts, Combs provided the victims with, among other things, monetary payments, career opportunities, and payment of rent and housing expenses. Some of the commercial acts involved male commercial workers and were referred to by Combs as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, choked his chicken or pleasured himself during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial workers across state lines and internationally. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial workers. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos that he filmed of victims engaging in acts with commercial workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and the drug use. Remember, that was all in Cassie's lawsuit. That's where it was first mentioned that they were engaging in the use of IVs to rehydrate themselves after days of binging on drugs and alcohol. And let's not forget that in that video where Diddy's mother and he kissed in the mouth, that he and his mother are sitting outside in what looks to be a backyard, and they both are hooked up to IV drips, which further goes to show that his mother was very likely not only attending the freak-offs, but out there binging with him on drugs and alcohol as well. Now, this is all speculation, but this is just my opinion of the situation. And let's not forget how in the lawsuit, filings of Grace O'Marcaid, who accused King Combs, Christian King Combs, of assault. It said in there that the mother was present when they were playing a game called Carisha Please, where Diddy was asked and did comply with being told to expose himself, sitting right next to his own mother. How disgusting, but let's continue. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking survivors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial S workers, and Combs to and from the freak-offs, resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial S workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and lubricant. Now, I want you all to pay attention, because they're saying that they seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Now, if memory serves me correct, I don't recall them saying anything about narcotics in the first place. I just remember the baby oil and lubricant and some weapons that I believe didn't have serial numbers. But let's continue. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the chat. Now, I can pull up the old indictment just to be sure, but if you remember differently, please put it in the chat. Other commercial S acts involved only Combs and a female victim. As with freak-offs, other members and associates of the Combs enterprise assisted with arrangements from these commercial S acts, including by arranging travel and accommodations for victims. At times, Combs and the assistance of other members, or with the assistance of other members and associates of the enterprise, transported and caused to be transported victims across state lines and internationally in connection with the commercial S acts. Okay, it's so like the freak-offs, these commercial S acts involving Combs and a female victim were prearranged, sometimes lasted multiple days, were sometimes electronically recorded by Combs, and often involved Combs distributing a variety of controlled substances to the victim, in part to keep the victim obedient and compliant. Now, let me see what you all are saying, if it's anything in the... Okay, so Vince M says dealer should have sold his own line of Sean John oil and lubricants. Okay. Ron says baby oil could be a courier for GHB. Yeah, we heard that one before. Okay, Jean says she should be charged for abuse she caused from his childhood. Talking about his mother, Janice. Yeah, I think she was doing some nefarious things. According to one of his childhood friends in one of those documentaries, they even said something similar about the partying that she carried on. Okay, Rule Superior said Janice is a weirdo, just like her son. Well, I absolutely believe that to be true. Denise says, I do remember them saying he was in possession of drugs when they arrested him. Yeah, that's when they arrested him at the hotel. That's when they arrested him, beloved. I remember that. He had some of that Tusi, I believe, with him at the hotel, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about during the raids. Now they're saying when they raided his homes, they found narcotics. And I don't remember that being in the previous indictment. But again, like I said, I still have the paperwork. I can go back and check, but I doubt it very seriously. I don't think that it was in the previous paperwork, is what I'm saying. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, so goes on to say Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs and other commercial S acts. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career and financial opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and During and separate from the freak-offs and other commercial S acts, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. They're clearly talking about Cassie, but they're talking as if it's more than one person that these same things happen to. Now, following the assaults, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the enterprise, frequently worked to conceal his misconduct by offering to provide medical assistance or other financial benefits to the victims. Now, Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted engaging in S acts with Combs, and at times with Combs and male commercial S workers. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security or without repercussions in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recording that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. Now, members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten others, including victims and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized firearms, ammunition, including 3 AR-15s, with defaced serial numbers, as well as a drum magazine. Now, I do definitely remember that. Okay, members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victim's career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victims compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence toward the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs and monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs' residences. These occasions included instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. So we know these things all happened to Cassie. We know these things all happened to Cassie because, quite frankly, I'm sure we remember Cassie saying that, you know, when she would leave, she would try to flee, he would have people come and get her and bring her right back. Okay, and also we remember them saying that she was supposed to stay at a hotel or something for days, okay, when she had these bruises and all of that stuff. So this is all what he was doing to Cassie. Now, who else was he doing this to is the question. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Hold on. Okay. Now, with that all being said, when employees, witnesses to his abuse, or others threaten Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence included arson and multiple acts of kidnapping. I want you all to pay attention, including one instance of kidnapping during which Combs carried and displayed a firearm. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. On one occasion, Combs dangled a victim over an apartment balcony. Now, when Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs's crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. And I want you all to pay attention, because what's interesting to me is that when Jay-Z was accused of doing something very similar, only it wasn't witnesses or accusers, but remember when it was alleged that Jay-Z had his team to go out there and try to threaten or coerce people that had dealt with Tony Busby in the past to file frivolous lawsuits and offer them money to do so. So many people seem like they were shocked, like, oh, Jay-Z wouldn't do this. Like, stop vouching for these people. You don't know what these people would do behind our backs. Unless we forget that Jay-Z for decades was good friends with Diddy. Now, whether he wants to admit to that now or not is irrelevant. But we all know that we saw them hanging out. We all know that we saw them attending the same events together. We all know that Jay-Z's been videoed at some of Diddy's parties, he and Beyonce. We already know that it has been mentioned in 1 or 2 of the lawsuits, at least, that Beyonce was at the scene when there was an incident with Cassie, or at least one of the witnesses has said something of the sort. Okay, so when people are sitting here acting like, oh, Jay-Z didn't do it, they're just trying to bring the black man down. Don't be so quick to go to that conclusion, because we don't know what levels of depravity that Jay-Z, who's been friends with Diddy, who's been hanging out with Marina Abramovich, okay, please pay attention, all right? We don't know what he's capable of. Okay, because everything that he was accused of or his team was accused of sounds real reminiscent of the things that Diddy has also been accused of in the way of witness tampering. All right, they just, Jay-Z's was just a little different in that it was Tony Busby's former clients that these allegations were made about. But in this case, that still has something to do with, obstructing justice. Okay, that still has something to do with that, because you're trying to get people, if you're trying to get people to tell lies on an attorney who's coming after you, whose client has accused you, okay, that's absolutely nefarious. All right, and that is intimidation and harassment if true, just like what Diddy was doing. But let's continue. So for at least in or about 2004 through in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown, being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprise described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, are an enterprise engaged in and activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, to wit, Title 18, United States Code Section 1962C. That is to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as that term is defined in Title 18 United States Code Section 1961(1) and 1961(5), consisting of A, multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code Statute 207, kidnapping; California Penal Code Statute 21A 664, attempt; California Penal Code Statute 31, aiding and abetting; California Penal Code Statute 182, conspiracy; New York Penal Code or Penal Law Statute 135.20, kidnapping. And it goes on to list all these codes. I'm not going to read all the codes and statutes, okay, of which they have breached. Now, with that all being said, multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including Coca-Cola, oxycodone, alprazolam, 3 and 4 meth, okay, dimethoxyphenylymine, gamma hydroxyburic acid, okay, GHB, basically. If I'm not mistaken, ketamine, psilocin, and meth in violation of Title 21. Whole lot of drug use going on here from the sounds of it. Whole lot of drugs on the person and all of that. That's what this all sounds like. Distribution and possession with intent to distribute and conspiracy to do the same. Okay, and Title 18 United States Code Section 2, aiding, abetting, and willfully causing Now, it was a part of the conspiracy that Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. So from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed to in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person, knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18, United States Code Section 1591 E2, and any combination of means would be used to cause the person to engage in commercial sex acts in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1591 A1 and B1. Now, the grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Diddy Combs, the defendant, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person, knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force. Okay, this is getting real repetitive here, but let me continue. I'm going to skip past all that because it's just a repeating of what was already said. Now, goes on to say, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial act and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained victim 1, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused victim 1 to engage in commercial acts, knowing and in reckless disregard for the fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial acts as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. Okay, on to count 3. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up into and including in or around about 2024 in the Southern District of New York, Sean Diddy Combs, the defendant, knowingly transported individuals in interstate foreign commerce with the intent to engage in, okay, it says the same thing again in the 3rd count. Now let's go to forfeiture allegations. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to Title 18, United States Code Section 1963, any and all interest the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1962, any and all interest in securities of claims against and property or contractual rights of any kind of affording a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1962, and any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds obtained directly and indirectly. Said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Proceeds traceable, okay, including but not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. Okay, here's likely where his mother comes in, because at the end of the day, we know that Diddy has items and property and things in his mother and his son's Justin's names, allegedly. Now, as a result of committing the offense alleged in count 2 of this indictment, Sean Combs, aka the defendant, or Diddy, aka Diddy, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States any and all property, real and personal, involved in, used, or intended to be used in to commit or facilitate the commission of said offense, any and all property traceable to such property, any and all property, real and personal, constituted or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of the property involved in said offense and proceeds traceable to the commission. Okay, they're trying to take all of Diddy's property, just so you all know. They're trying to take any and everything that Diddy owns. Okay? Are y'all listening? They're trying to take any and everything that Diddy owns. If they can trace it back to that it was, acquired through illegal means, which is what they're saying, because, hey, a RICO organization, they already said something about money laundering. Okay. With that all being said, let me read some of these comments. Definitely an enterprise. He made everybody indulge in everything but the ice cream, says Fat Boo. Ooh. Yeah, this is all crazy. I mean, all these people who did anything, whether they willingly did it or not, they're all going to turn on him. That's for sure. Fat Boo said, does he have anything left? Who knows, honey? Unless he has some hidden assets. Denise says that's why they didn't want the house for collateral. They're going to take it. Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe I said that. Okay. All right, Cookie. Cookie said, this is Cookie. I left myself. All right, beloved. Pio Bunyan said, this is what happens when you give hood dudes money. This is all crazy. Okay, well, it looks like Diddy's going to be left broke and penniless, which is what we all should have already expected. But let's continue. Okay, so now, substitute assets provision. Let's go to this section. Okay, this is getting to the end of it. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant, A, cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, or B, has been transferred or sold or deposited with a third person, or C, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, D, has been substantially diminished in value, or E, has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty, it is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 18, United States Code Section 1963M, Title 21, United States Code Section 853P, and Title 28, United States Code Section 2461C, to seek forfeiture of any other property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. All right, Diddy. Well, y'all heard that. I'm going to tell you like this. I was expecting a whole lot more. I don't know about you guys. I was expecting a whole lot more from this superseding indictment. What do you all say? What do you all think? This is just not what I was expecting. I was thinking a whole lot more. How about you guys? What do you all have to say? Because this whole thing seems basically, hold on. All the celebs still tight-lipped. Okay. Saskla says, I'm not understanding how every celebrity left his parties early. So who did attended then if none of them stayed? Honey, we know they're lying. I mean, they've got to be lying. I said that months ago. Okay, I said that last year. I said all of these people saying they left early. Well, who was there? Because somebody was. Okay, clearly they didn't all leave early. A lot of people are just lying and saying whatever to distance themselves from the shenanigans. That's what they're doing. Okay, so Miss Lady said, I'm thinking they're not telling us everything. This can't be it all. The feds don't always let you know everything. Well, that's for sure too. But at the end of the day, just from what they're letting out, it doesn't sound like much. Okay. Vince I.L. said, I expected more as well, Queen, about 100 pages. Exactly. 15 pages? Like, get out of here with this bullshit. Are they trying to let Diddy get off? I have several questions. This all sounds paper thin to me. It's just not what I was looking for. It's lackluster at best. And, I've come upon some new information that I'm going to be talking about on tomorrow because, Diddy this is just all real sketchy. Okay. There's more bones out there that's buried. Now, why aren't they talking about those? And I understand they may not want to tell us everything. They don't have to tell us every shred of evidence that they have. No. But where are the big serious charges? Okay. And if they're talking about multiple kidnappings, who was kidnapped? Why are there only people listed as victims 1, 2, and 3? And all this talk about freak-offs and lube and baby oil again. You see, I want to know who the hell was kidnapped and why, and what were they forced to do? Was there ransoms involved? Who all participated? Okay, that's what I want to know about, because you're supposed to be able to get life for a kidnapping, aren't you? And if there was multiple, what's Diddy looking at? Okay, all as I know is they better not let Diddy's ass up out of there, please. Natasha, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Okay, I have several questions. This was lackluster at best. All right. Now, when we'll have a little bit more to go on is in March, when they finally release the co-conspirators' names. Okay, because I do believe those are supposed to come out around March the 7th, if memory serves me correct. Okay, Tara Hartford said, I want to know too, Queen. I know you do, honey. We're nosy over here. Okay. Kimbrella said, yes, he has too much info on powerful people. Exactly. He absolutely does, beloved. Thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. Yes, he absolutely does. And so with that all being said, what's really going on here? See, like I told you all, I think I know what's going on. Diddy has the real footage, and they don't. And they don't know where it is, and he's not telling. That's exactly what's going on here. And what he's doing is bartering for his freedom. I think backdoor deals have possibly been made, but I intend to get to the bottom of it one way or another. Okay? One way or another. Please pay attention. Songwriter Shane said, don't let Diddy out until he's fat enough to play big in his own Diddy biopic movie. You need to stop. Okay, so anyway, that's the news for now, you guys. Okay, everyone, please like and share. Don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you haven't been receiving notifications. Honey, when I tell y'all, YouTube is unsubscribed about 10 more people since this morning. I'm not even joking. Okay, so please make sure you double check. Okay, so with that all being said, About Damn Time said, whistleblower, leak us something tangible. Okay. Hold on. Auntie Leah said, wig number 2 said she was the first to find the house. She showed a brick house. The house in the Busby lawsuit is white. The lies. You already know that she's lying, beloved. Absolutely. And here's the thing. The house that she showed that looked similar to a white house was the house that she got from Lisa Cabrera. Remember when Lisa was on here with me and we were talking about how she was saying that the whole thing happened in 2003 and there was no proof of that other than her own imagination. And then I showed the house that she showed. And then I showed the house that Lisa sent me that Diddy absolutely owned during that time frame. And it was like an off-white. Not like a pure white, but like an off-white. And so they could easily have been mistaken as being an all-white house on that night. And that's the picture that we put up first. She could sit down somewhere. Okay, honey, I told y'all out here sending the Queen's receipts and trying to take all the credit. And let's not forget, I was the first one that told you guys about the superseding indictment coming. Told y'all that last year. But nonetheless, like I'm saying, this still is lackluster. Okay, the feds need to come on a whole lot harder. And like I said, I think that Diddy's holding on to those tapes and using them as a bargaining tool because people like Clive Davis could be in some serious trouble. But tomorrow we're going to get more into it because I have some information that I've been saving for a time such as this. And so we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. So everyone enjoy the rest of this day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got